Welcome to the BBC.
Welcome to the BBC. We have an amazing guest today. I am so excited to have Miranda back with us. Those of you that have been waiting for this podcast, thank you for your patience. And Miranda, thank you for your patience. Miranda was selected to be the 2023 Bryght Cancer Compassionate Model. So as you guys might know, every year we do a model search. Last year was Tomai. This year was Miranda. And just because of the craziness of Bright's trade show life and my crazy past life of owning wax, we're finally getting together to talk about your experience, Miranda. So you get to reminisce. Thank you so much.
That it took a little bit longer because it's been a lot to process and it's been an incredible experience, and I'm just so happy to be here again with all of you.
It really was probably a lot to process, right? Like that, when I start to think back on that trip, and I was behind the camera. Yeah. It was a lot.
It was. Yeah, it was. It's taken, even now I still get these like little snippets of like, oh wow, like that was really impactful, and like this affected me in this way. And I think that representation matters, especially for my rare cancer. And so being able to have this platform and have this given to me and be chosen as the model, which 10 out of 10 highly recommend, think that every cancer survivor should do this. I think it's really, really important for not just me for so many reasons, which we'll get into, but for other people to see that you can do these things during cancer. You know, you can do it during your most insufferable pain and your most difficult times. Like, this was not an easy time for me, and still it brought me so much joy and reconnected me with my body and with my fabulous, which is so important to me.
So I definitely want to get into that, because doing a photo shoot, it's always highly, highly stressful, not to mention, you know, a couple of times we had to sit down and get you to take a moment. And I mean, right. Like, I mean, just from walking up the stairs, right? We hadn't even started yet. But before we get into that, I want to talk about your experience and the process of being nominated or applying and what that was like.
So for me, I mean, I consider myself a forever Bryght babe. The minute that I found your product, it was life-changing. And I don't say that lightly. It was really that moment where you lose something and then you get it back, you know? So that products for me was like that missing piece to who I am and how I like to navigate my day and how I like to self-care. And there was just a lot of meaning behind that. And so the minute that you posted a model search, I was like, hello, I'm here. It just meant a lot to me, and the products mean a lot to me, and your story means a lot to me. You know, there's just a lot of emotional connection. And so it was just really, really special. And I knew that no matter who was chosen, someone was going to have something really, really powerful to say. And Jen Rosenbaum was going to be taking the photos, and she was going to be able to create that magic that she does to like tell a story through photos. And so, yeah, I just knew that whoever was chosen, it was going to be a really amazing, impactful experience for whoever it was. And it was me. And I'll never forget that.
I got goosebumps, shivers when you were telling that.
And also,
now you had to go through not only, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, I think that health changes from day to day. And I think it's really special to capture like a specific version of yourself. And I think that like you captured this really special, what could be a temporary moment. And so, yeah, that was just, it's been so like, it's a lot, but it's so amazing. You know, it's so amazing to like explore all of that and like what it means on both sides.
So I know that you submitted, you had to write kind of like almost like an essay why you think you're the right person for the being chosen as the model, but you also had an interview with Becca. So talk about that.
Rigorous
Yeah.
interviews, more than one.
Well, I had no idea. Like, I had zero expectations coming into this. I just said to myself, I saw the posting. I saw we were looking for a cancer thriver. I saw we were looking for somebody who represented strength and courage. And I just knew confidently that that was me. Like, I didn't, I just knew. I'm like, if there's anybody who can portray courage and strength, like, it is me. It is my everyday. I live and breathe courage and strength. And so I felt confident going into the process, although I didn't know there was going to be a process. And I had fun. Like, I enjoyed it because I don't have like what's a typical life. I don't live like an able-bodied woman, and my days look different every single day. I never know what to expect. And so like having that little bit of normalcy and being like interviewed and having that process, it just like, it was special. It was, and I'm also a tad bit of an overachiever. So that just like shined through a little bit, and I enjoyed that, you know? Yeah.
And Miranda, you were like, I mean, I interviewed a lot of people and everybody was so amazing. And like, you know, every cancer thriver had like a really inspiring story.
Mhm.
And a few people did email me after the interviews and said, you know, thank you so much. Even if you don't pick me, I really loved this and I'm excited to see who you do pick. But then you, after your interviews, you didn't just write like a little cute email that said, thanks for your time. You wrote me a literal like 2-page essay explaining why if I did not choose you, I would be a fool. Like professionally. I was like reading it and I was like, damn. So when you said overachiever, I was like, yes, absolutely.
And those, just inserting really quick, those of you that don't know, that's basically how Becca got hired. By
Yes.
doing something like that.
Yes.
So it works.
It does. It works.
I think that I've always been this way, and it doesn't matter what I'm doing or what I'm connecting myself to. If I connect my energy to something, it better be worth my time, because I will not do something that I am not like heart, soul, body connected to and passionate about. And I was really passionate about this because one, I wanted to meet Luba. I wanted to meet Becca. I wanted to meet all of you and kind of create like a different relationship than what we had already had. And as I mentioned previously, like the message and the story behind the products mean a lot to me. And I talk about them every day. Like, I think at some point in my day, on or off social media, I will mention strength and courage to a human being. And I think that that is important, because if it's something that you're just wanting to do because you want to take pretty photos, it's not for you. Like, it's something that goes beyond that. And I understood that. And I think that everything that Bryght does kind of goes beyond the surface level and has more meaning, or that's how I portray it anyway. And so, yeah, I think that if you really want something, there's always a way to get it. There's always a way to get it. That you just have to really focus on it and put 100% of your energy into the thing that you're trying to get. And there's always going to be a way to be rewarded. And for me, it was having this experience and being chosen and validating, you know, all of the efforts that I do as a cancer thriver and the difference that I try to make. And I think that
speaking.
No, go ahead.
I said, speaking about that, how everything is achievable, I heard that it was a dream of yours to go to New York.
Yeah, So it's no secret that I love to write. I love writing, and I've always loved writing. And it didn't matter if it was it wasn't my career, but it was something that I enjoyed doing and continued to do. And so when I was growing up and I was like envisioning like what that would look like for me, I always wanted to live in New York, like not just go to New York, but I wanted to live in New York. Kind of like everybody does at some point in their life. I think like every woman like dreams of living in New York and like kind of thinks of what that will look like.
Very Bradshaw.
Yeah. And for me, I wanted to give advice to people with my writing. And I don't know, and it sounds so weird to say that now because that's literally what I do every single day. But it was just like this, I don't know, it was just this, I guess, a childhood dream. And I didn't care how it would happen. I just knew that I was going to end up in New York. And I would not go, I had so many opportunities to go to New York. I would not go unless it was for something really, really big, unless it was really, really special. And although it took me, maybe a little longer than I anticipated, I wouldn't have changed that for anything because I wouldn't have had that like first time New York experience as a cancer thriver model. So, it was perfect.
And did the big city disappoint?
Okay, so I feel like
Ooh.
no, the reason why I say this, okay, I feel like I didn't focus on that. Like I wasn't focused on my surroundings, and that sounds weird, and because New York is very in your face, and it feels like you can't really ignore it. But I was just like, I was really like on cloud nine. I was in this bubble. I was preparing my body and my energy and everything for the photo shoot. So I just like didn't really soak up what was happening around me. I was very like, I need hairspray. I need that, I need everything to be perfect. It was just, It was very like, I was in a zone and I was committed. So, I mean, I don't have a very specific like opinion about New York. Like I just have an opinion about the experience that I had in New York, which to me is more important.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And you weren't there very long either. It was like in and out too.
Yeah, exactly.
We were busy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it was so busy.
It's not to say that I didn't get like a little bit of like New York experience, because I did, and I made sure. And I was actually like, when I arrived, I was feeling not good. Like it was, I was just not feeling good. And I was like, you know what? I can't be here and not just like walk down the street or like go buy something. Like I have to like go buy a bag or like something needs to happen. And so yeah, I did. I just forced myself. I walked down the street, I found a cute little store, and I bought the hat that I went out to dinner with, and it was fabulous.
And you did name drop Jen Rosenbaum, who did the photo shoot. So talk about your experience meeting Jen and what that whole, I mean, that photo shoot was so beautiful.
Yeah. So I want to preface this by saying that this photo shoot was like, I can talk about like the fun I had and loving my experience, but I want to just go back to me being that representation for rare cancer thrivers and people hearing more and more pheochromocytoma and attaching that to a person, to a human being, and not just a rare literature medical journal that they're never going to see in their life. It's like, I am that person, and I stood up there, and that is going to continue to live on and will be tied to that awareness aspect, which is so important to me. And when I met Jen Rosenbaum, the first thing she did was ask me to tell her my story. I was so happy in that moment because I felt like we just knew and we understood, and all of it made sense. Choosing Jen Rosenbaum as being a cancer survivor, she tells your story through her images. And I can't speak for anybody else, but she didn't just tell my story through those images, but she reconnected me with my body. And like, as an example, as women, you know, we have all of these expectations that we put on ourselves and that we have from beauty standards and all these things. And there's all this pressure. And I was going in there as like a scarred cancer thriver, you know, not as a model technically. Like in my head, I was going there to tell my story. And so for her to so eloquently take those like flaws and those things that most people would consider flaws, it was like they become your greatest, most beautiful strength. And that was just so transformative. It was just such a beautiful experience. Yeah.
Aw,
Big
I
goose.
love that. I know. And I think the listeners, they just need to know how special this was, because not only did you have a dream to go to New York, but this was your first time traveling in a long time. Can you talk
Yeah.
about that too?
God, that too. Yeah. So I haven't felt normalcy in a very, very long time. And so a lot of the years that went by of my adult life were just fighting cancer. And, you know, I created Theo versus Fabulous for my mental health, like knowing all the things that it would strip away from me and knowing that I could just completely like keep reverting back to like, it can't take away who I am. And so having like your life look like that for so many years and then having this like this moment of time where you have this stability and it's like everything is new, you're exploring things, you have this childlike view of everything, like it's everything is just so exciting. It's not, you know, the average person, they travel to New York all the time. The average person travels all the time. The average person goes to work. The average person does all these things, and those things are like dreamy memories to me. They're not real life to me anymore. And so like going out for the first time, like in a big travel setting, it being for something like this, it was like all year I was just like mentally preparing. I was like, no, this is going to be the best experience ever. Because like, you guys know, like being in an unpredictable body, like you don't know what to expect. And so there was a lot of fear around like not being able to show up like I wanted to. But I also think that there's always room for a little bit of a choice of how you show up. Like, even if, like, as I was in pain, I was not like, you know, of course, there was like, I can't make my cancer disappear when I do fun things. But I just kept going back to like, wow, like, this is the most incredible thing. I have not been able to do anything in so long. And I just kind of like this year just started like walking on my own and like doing these like small things. And then you're like, hey, you want to come to New York and be the cancer thriver model? And I'm like, okay, sure, why not? You know? So yeah, that was really, really
Go big or go home.
yeah.
Yeah, you said you choose how you showed up, and I mean, you showed up. But for anyone who hasn't seen the photos, they're
so good.
could have fooled me. You're not a model, like you
Yeah.
are. That is, I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this year, just from the outside looking in, like you have done, like it was like a snowball effect. Like you have gone to concerts, you've now gone to like a pool party with Penningtons, like big group settings, seeing people in public doing like quote unquote normal things. And I'm just like, I'm so happy for you from the outside looking in, because I know you just became stable not that long ago. And with the pandemic, nobody was seeing each other, and especially not you. And just to see how like your life this year has really opened up, and like all the things you've been journaling about and manifesting and all the stuff that you do is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I want to say for those listening that everybody experienced the pandemic differently. And for me, the pandemic didn't feel the same as others. It felt scary because I didn't have the same access to my medical team. It felt scary because I knew that I couldn't go to the hospital safely and all these other things. But it wasn't so much that I was like cut off from the world or wasn't seeing people, because that had been our reality for years before that. We were very isolated. I couldn't be around people that had a sniffle. I couldn't be, and I still can't, like technically speaking, I still cannot. But it was just on a much larger scale before, So I think that when you're listening to this and you're going to see what we're talking about and you're going to see the photos and you're going to look at me, I really want you to imagine this version of me who lived in a bed in my living room for years leading up to this. And that's what I mean about unpredictability. Like, we never know when things will change for the worse or for the better. And that's what I always hold in my heart when I'm not doing well, is that I always say to myself, like, we never know when this will turn around. And I think that that's really important for people with cancer to hold that in their heart, to have hope. Because I can imagine and dream a lot of things, but I didn't dream this. Like, I did not dream this experience. I think that this experience was given to me almost like a gift, like, oh, you were really strong and you were really courageous for so many years. Here's a gift, That's what I feel.
That's so beautiful.
So you spoke about how life-changing the products Strength and Courage were for you. Can you tell everybody a little bit about your illness, how it affects your body, and how you use Strength and Courage? Like, how are they life-changing? Because she's not lying when she says that, you guys. If you're watching the video, you can see Strength is behind her. She uses it all the time.
It's literally beside my deodorant, and that's not marketing. That's just the placement, because it's the easiest place that I know. I put my deodorant on and I put Strength on. Like, it's a daily routine. But that's why I felt like it implemented into my self-care. It was solving a problem. It was doing all the things that you would want a product to do, but also just giving me more and more and more. Like, every time I would be in a situation where my skin was reacting to the amount of, so just to make this make sense, my cancer secretes different types of hormones that are in the adrenaline family. And so my skin reacts in ways that are very like aggressive, and my face will get like purple red, like painful, so angry red. And I also have a coexisting condition that creates like allergic responses for nothing and for everything. So I go through my day never knowing if I'm going to like go into anaphylaxis or if my body's going to get angry and have an adrenaline fit. Like, I just don't know at any given time when that's going to happen. And of course, there's only so many things that I can have in my toolkit to respond to how I feel. And skin was always an issue, because when I had that secondary condition diagnosed, it was like I couldn't use anything on my skin. Like, I couldn't use shampoo anymore. I couldn't use shaving cream. I was allergic to the razor. Like, I was allergic to everything. And I was having these like disgusting reactions to everything. And I felt like I needed to live in a bubble, and it was really sad. And I was like, I always talk about staying fabulous. And I felt like it was being ripped away from me all at once. And so I first found the wax, and that was like, what is this? Like, what kind of wizard sorcery is this? How can wax not irritate my skin? Like, ripping wax off my skin does not make redness, but like putting a razor to my skin makes me react for 7 days. Like, that's crazy. So I of course knew, like, if the wax can do this, like, obviously the other products should be in the same realm of safeness, fragrance free, like all the things that as cancer thrivers we should use, but don't always. And so, yeah, every time I was having these reactions, which like I say, they're unexpected, but I also know that they're always going to happen. You know, I just don't know when. So not having anything reliable that I could put on my skin, when you're like in bed and you're in pain and your skin hurts and your bones hurt and everything hurts, and then you have this like patchy rash on your arm. Despite all of your other symptoms, all you can focus on is that itchy, patchy rash. It's like, because I can see it, it bothers me and it haunts me and it just like won't go away. So I started to use strength on any body reaction, and it would cool it down and it would make it like, you know, I'm not gonna say like it took the itch away and did everything all at once, because it doesn't. But it would magically just like disappear within 16 to 24 hours. Whereas I would have to deal with this for like a good week, going through all the phases previously. So now it's just like, it's part of my toolkit. Like it's part of my, I don't know if you want to call it a survival toolkit, because I really love thriving. But there are times where I'm like, shit, I need to get out of survival mode. This sucks, you know, and that's part of my little toolkit. So yeah, you should make it part of yours.
I love that you call it like a tool because you use it, it has a purpose, you're using it to fix something. It's not just a product. Like, so I have products I use just because, right?
Exactly.
And so it's nice to hear just the way you're spinning the word, like how you're using it and what it means. That's really neat.
But also just to say, like so that's why it's on behind me on my, like I have this little healing corner in my fabulous room. So like my fabulous room is full of wigs, it's full of purses, it's full of makeup, it's full of self-tan. Like it has everything in it that could make you feel beautiful. But there's also this little healing corner that is really important to me, where I do my journaling and I do my manifesting and have my crystals and, you know, have all that stuff. And so that's why strength is allowed in the healing corner, because it has a very specific purpose. Because, okay, fabulous room is like, to me, it's like $1 million real estate. Like if you're on one of the shelves, you're very important. Because nothing is allowed in here if it doesn't serve a very specific purpose. And so, yeah, strength and courage.
I love that.
And that's true.
Yeah,
you can ask
so
courage. This has been the ongoing rule for many years.
I love that. I think everyone needs a fabulous room in their house.
Absolutely.
And to be so intentional about it, like only things in this room bring me joy.
Yes, absolutely. Like I have to do a little like cleanse in here, because it's gotten a little bit like, you know, there's things that I'm looking at like, do you bring me joy? I don't think so. Like Lauren Conrad, I don't remember you right now, so I don't know why you're up there. Sorry, but it's cutthroat in the fabulous room.
Oh my God, that's so good. So now we've went through, okay, so we've done the photo shoot. We went through that experience. And then was it that night we did dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my, see, this is what I mean. Like it is insanity. Like it was a lot.
Yeah. It was a real New York minute.
So I would like to say one thing about the photo shoot before we go into anything else. There was a moment in the photo shoot where, like, I just want to say, like, I've bared my soul for years, but like I literally bared myself in this photo shoot. And that goes to show how comfortable I was, and how like your body can tell a story, or your body can make you feel very, very badly. And I've just chosen to make my body feel like it has a story to tell. And there was moments like I was like showing Becca, I'm like, this is where my organs protrude out. And she's like, oh, you know, like there was just, it was a very normal moment for me to just like share how I live and how I feel and how my body is, and showing that in the photos. And there was this moment where like we all kind of knew that I was nearing the end. Like I couldn't take a lot more. I was really tired, and like you could kind of, my fear was that you'd see the pain in my eyes in the photos. And then I also started to think like, but that is part of it. Like that's part of this. If you see pain in my eyes, it's because I'm in pain. Like I can't make that go away for this experience. But there was a moment where this tulle gown came out, And it was like the life came back into me. And I was twirling in this like tool, and you could see like all my scars. And there was these back behind the scenes shots, and there was like, you could see my pain patch through the tool. And I was like, if that's not the representation of Pheo versus Fabulous, of what it is to be a cancer thriver and just try to like navigate your day and choose to show up the way you want to, like, I don't know what is. Because I was having so much fun, and at the same time I was in so much pain, and it's like the two exist. And like, I just don't want to let pain steal my joy, because it can if you let it. That's what I think.
I remember that moment so well. I also remember the moment of the unboxing of the Anna Ono clothes that were donated to us for this photo shoot.
So I think most people know Anna Ono as a breast cancer company. And that's been my experience for a lot of things. It's just a lot of things are marketed or known as breast cancer communities or sports or whatever the case may be. And I just want to say, like, that doesn't have to be the case for you. Like, if you don't have breast cancer and you're navigating the cancer land and you're like, where do I fit in? Like, I want people to look at my photos and be like, this is where I fit, anywhere I want to, because I can wear Anna Ono and be a cancer thriver just as much as anybody else. And I can, fight pretty and do all these things and have this rare cancer that can feel really isolating. But I feel like it's only isolating if you let it be. Like, I get in my head a lot of the time where I feel like I need to, I feel like I need people to get me. And then lately I've been taking a step back and being like, I don't need people to get me, really. Like, if they want to get me, they can. But if they don't understand my illness, or if they don't want to understand my illness, like, it doesn't really affect me. Like, the people who need my message will get my message. And I felt so welcomed when, I was, again, chosen for this photo shoot, and then clothed in all the things that, are known for the breast cancer girlies. And I was like, well, I'm a pheochromocytoma thriver, and I'm going to wear this. And I made a mood board, like an inspiration board pre-shoot, just to have like an idea for Becca to like know what I was feeling, or like what I was vibing with, or what I was comfortable in. And I wanted to just provide examples of like, okay, I'm comfortable in a bra, or I'm comfortable in pajamas, whatever. So I submitted that. And then this box comes to the shoot, and it's a pretty big box. And I open it, and it had every single piece that was on my mood board. And I'm like, what? Okay. And that was such a cool moment. And yeah, so we did the unboxing, and each piece I was opening, it was like I was seeing how I put it together, and I was just like, I don't know, I felt very what would the word be? I felt very celebrated.
Oh, that's so amazing. Yeah, I just sent your mood board to the team at Anna Ono, and I was like, these are like her top picks wish list. And they were so generous. They're like, yeah, we'll just give her all of them.
Yeah.
Like every single thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, huge shout out to Anna Ono. They were so generous with all the things that they donated for this shoot. So Dana, thank you. If you're listening, thank you so much. It was awesome.
We were
awesome.
able to speak with Dana at the shoot on FaceTime, which was just
on
like
FaceTime.
Yeah. So it was just like everyone kept saying it was a very full circle moment, and that was, everything was really like, it really was full circle. Like, it was very meaningful and so special.
So great. And then that night.
Yeah. I want to show the photos from the photo shoot. And then I have a surprise to show you, Miranda, that I don't think you've seen. But this will be for people
I'm not a
watching.
very patient person, but I was like, I'm gonna let them do their thing. I'm not gonna ask. I'm gonna wait, and I'm happy I did because now it's been a little while and it's even more special.
Yeah. So I think you've seen this one already, but for those watching the video, and if you're listening to this, go and watch the video on YouTube so you can see these photos, because I think it speaks to what Erin was saying earlier, like these photos are kick-ass.
Mhm.
This
Yeah.
one I think is my favorite.
She, in all words, is a model. Miranda, you look amazing. You look amazing now.
Yeah. Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh.
Just
You know,
every day, and
It's not
I love
without
it.
a lot of effort, and I try, and so I really do appreciate that. I'm telling you, I don't wake up like this. And so the
So
thriving,
good. This is my favorite.
the photo we're looking at is the two middle fingers up, kind of like, it would be like you're screaming at the top of your lungs, fuck cancer. And it's very projected in this photo, and it's, yeah. But that was like the whole shoot. Like it was very much like an F cancer, F bio, F beauty standards, I'm thriving, period.
Yeah. But you know what? Your face doesn't look like angry screaming. Your face
No, you're
looks
right.
like triumphant, like you're
Mhm.
still,
Yeah.
you're like proud and happy. And, you don't look angry, although I'm sure you are a little bit
Well,
because it sucks.
it was really hard for me because that was something that was supposed to be, not supposed to, I can't say supposed to be, but it was something that was asked of me to look angry, and I was so happy. I could not be angry in that moment. Like, if I don't know how to explain it, like, but it's like
Yeah.
I can fake it till I make it when it comes to like showing up and like, being myself and not being in pain and things, but I can't channel anger when I'm like so happy. And I was surrounded by a room of like incredible women and doing this photo shoot. Like I just couldn't be angry. Sorry, that's my face.
It looks good though. It worked. I don't think we would have had it the same if we did get that angry face. And if you're looking at the video, in this photo, Miranda is wearing a like bodysuit that says terminal and thriving. And actually, Miranda designed this bodysuit too. So that's like a fun little like side fact. That's why that's my favorite. Because like 2 years ago, you designed that bodysuit with
Yeah.
us, and then now here you are wearing it in a huge campaign.
I actually didn't think of it that way. I was just I focused more on the words, like the terminal and thriving, which like to me is kind of like wearing it as like the red scarlet letter, and at the same time like wearing it as a badge of honor, because it's like there's two sides to it. It's like, it speaks to my misdiagnosis. It speaks to so many medical errors and things that I try to remedy in other people every single day. But at the same time, it's like speaks to how I am living through that prognosis and thriving through that prognosis, and I'm not dead yet. So
There you go. Love it. Oh, I take it back. They're all my favorite, actually.
I can't remember
And
which
now we're
one.
looking at a poster that says, because cancer can't take away your fabulous. And Miranda is in like this gorgeous sequin champagne gold tunic dress.
I gasped when I saw this photo on the reveal day. I was like, when I saw fabulous in big letters and all the gold sequins, I was like,
Yeah. That's your anthem right there.
I love this one.
this is my favorite. It's my phone screen.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. And okay, I want to paint the scene for this photo. So I have my arms up, I have kind of like my hands in my hair, and there's this wind that's, on my face, and I'm wearing the Fuck Cancer sports bra, which is also in the Bryght store, and has a zebra backing as like an ode to my rare cancer. And it was created at the same time as the Terminal and Thriving bodysuit. And I'm standing in this studio on like this block. So I'm elevated, I'm above everybody else. I have this fan on me. Luba's hyping me up, like, you're so gorgeous, you're so beautiful. Christina Aguilera, Dirty is playing in the background, which is literally my favorite song, of course. Like, that's just, so again, like that kind of like full circle childhood dream moment. Like, it all came into like one really big package, and it was, yeah, that was a moment, and it's my favorite.
I love it. Okay, and then I have one that I don't think you've seen. And I have it saved on my phone screen as for Miranda, so I wouldn't forget. So just give me a second. Okay. Can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now this, Miranda, what this is going to be is when we do the trade shows, we're redesigning our booth. So this is going to be like, I don't know, 10 feet high and like 5 feet wide, like big.
And if you've ever seen our like trade show videos, it's visible to lots of people.
If I could throw myself on the floor, I would.
So badass.
Oh my god.
And you can see your scar and the boxing gloves. And just like the look in your eyes, killing me.
Get some.
So
yeah.
This was just full transparency. This why I've used this photo, the behind the scenes photo, so much for Survivors Month, for so many different messages in my own. I have not seen the professional version of this photo, but this photo was so powerful to me. And it was because I was like leaning against the wall, and I said to Serge, I'm like, I don't want people to see that I'm in pain. And he's like, Miranda, you're in pain every day. Like, you're always in pain. Like, you show up in pain all the time. Like, this is not different. It's like, like, and it made me change the way that I was kind of holding myself back, if that makes sense. Like, just like letting myself be free in my exact moment. And like, I think Jen showed me one of the photos, and I felt like my eyes were starting to like change. And again, that's what I meant about like seeing pain in my eyes. But I just think that like that's the most authentic way that you can show yourself as a cancer thriver, because that is what we experience. And underneath all the makeup and the hair and everything else that we like do to hide this, it's like that is part of it. And I'm so proud. Like, I'm so proud to be able to like show up in that way and be fabulous. Like, be who I am in all aspects of what that means. So that was like the best picture you could have chosen.
I lied. This one is actually my favorite. When I chose this for the booth, I was like, this is the one that it's got to be. And Miranda, I don't know if you know, but our designer is a 2-time cancer survivor. So for him to work on this campaign was just like, he was like, this is the best thing that I've ever worked on, the most beautiful model I could ever ask for. Like, he just went on and on and on. So yes, this will be, this booth will be launching at the Long Beach show in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks.
Oh, my fingers.
And then you will be traveling with us on our booth for a very long time. Next show after that is Miami.
I'll be with you all the time. Your little fabulous spirit will go with you everywhere.
Yes. And then anytime somebody notices the photo, asks us about your scar, more and more people are going to learn the word pheochromocytoma.
Yeah,
Did
and
I
you know
say it
what?
right?
Just to say, Becca could even pronounce that when we started, and she's perfected it. So it just goes to show, like, if you say it enough times, it will eventually get into people's mouths and brains and bodies, and you'll be
Mm-hmm.
able to recognize it.
Yeah.
When people say to me all the time, like, it's so rare. So how does it affect me? Like, how does awareness affect me? But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people truly understand how many messages I receive a day.
Mm.
Looking for answers for their symptoms that nobody understands, or having been diagnosed and being told that their tumor is benign, which is not true. Having been diagnosed or having a loved one be diagnosed and be told improper preparations for their surgery. Like, so many aspects of this are just so important. And I wouldn't have that massive scar on my stomach if things had gone the way they should have. And so that's what I mean about, like, I wear it as like a badge of honor, because it's like I was able to live through all of that and be here and make a difference in the space, and not just in this space of like what people view as a small pheochromocytoma community, but also just other people who are being dismissed when it comes to their symptoms, and knowing that there's something wrong, but nobody listening to them and making them feel crazy. So I really hope that when people see that, they understand that, like, there's so much more behind that than just a scar or just a model or just a moment, because it's like, this is people's lives, and it's every single day. Every single day several people are struggling with this, and it's really heavy, but it's also like really, it's what like keeps me going.
Yeah, and you're only going to continue to help people as they see this and they walk past our booth and ask questions or want to know more about it. So it's only gonna help.
And the cherry on top
Now,
is that they can put strength and courage on that scar, and it won't be as noticeable as mine. If I had it back in the day, well, maybe we wouldn't even see that scar right now.
right? Exactly. Exactly. So on that note, just before we wrap up here, in a few months, we will be starting the new photo shoot or new model search for 2024's Bryght Cancer Compassionate Model. Miranda, do you have any words of wisdom or advice for people that are nominating themselves, or if someone wants to nominate someone?
I think that as people who are living with cancer, there's so much pressure on us to like fight through it, be positive, and have all this pressure on like what we should be. And I think that it makes us like live in spite of cancer instead of just living with cancer. And so I think that prevents a lot of people from imagining themselves in these situations and thinking that they're good enough to do something like this. And I just say, like, throw all that shit out the window, because when you'll show up for yourself, whether it's just applying or nominating somebody else, like, it's going to change how you feel about yourself. It's going to change how your medicalized body feels. It's going to make you feel like you're you again. And I just say, like, don't let anything stop you from doing something that seems amazing. Like, don't hold yourself back ever because of an illness. Because as I proved here today, you can do all of those things during, not after. Because in my case, we don't have a happy ending. Like, we're still living through this. I don't have this like big inspirational thing to say, like, I'm cancer free. Like, no, we're still very much in the cancer, but the cancer does not control me. And so you should show up and be a model for a day, because experience. It's life changing.
I love that. That's so good.
So
Okay.
as we wrap up, I think that's great advice. Thank you so much, Miranda. And while we wrap this up, Becca, can you tell everyone where to follow and listen to us?
Yes, so you can listen to this podcast anywhere where you find your favorite shows. If you want to see the images that we were talking about today, you can watch the video version on our YouTube channel, and we will have all of the links for that below. And if you want to follow Miranda or read more about her story, she has a website and social media, and both of them are Pheo versus Fabulous. And we will have that in the notes too. Special thanks to Jen Rosenbaum Photography, Anna Ono, and Fighting Pretty as well. And to Miranda and Serge. We didn't talk about it, but Serge, Miranda's husband, we could not have done the photo shoot without him either, because he was your rock and your support, and he made sure you were good. And that we wouldn't have had those photos without it. It really took a village that day. So
Yeah.
thank you, Serge, as well. Really, really big. And we hope you listen to another episode next week. Write us a review, share it to a friend, and go check Miranda out online, and you can learn more about chronic illness, but also just makeup tips, how to make your eyelashes last 2 weeks long. She is full of hacks and secrets. How to put on a tan without getting streaks. Like, she's figured it out at all.
Thank you. I appreciate the Pheo and Fabulous included in here.
Of course. It's the brand. It's the Miranda brand. And we'll talk to you next week.
Welcome to the BBC.